Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from. And today we have to talk about this massive news coming out of New York because they just passed a bill to crack down on Bitcoin mining. And if this fully goes through, this would mean that they are the first state inside of the United States to ban a form of blockchain infrastructure. And I want to talk about exactly what that means and the impact that this could have on the crypto markets. Now, beyond this, we have some other news in the wake of the terrorist situation, and also with a little bit of insider trading that happened not too long ago on OpenC. But finally, we need to talk also about what's happening on the Bitcoin chart, right? Because this is a very important factor of the entire crypto market. Most likely, what Bitcoin does, the altcoins should follow in its footsteps. So there's a lot to break down here, and if you are new, make sure you stick around for the entire length of the video because there is important information to be discussed the entire way through. But first things first, let's talk about New York because this is everywhere. When I was trying to search for crypto news, this was like 90% of my feed. So let's look at a couple of the key points here. Number one, lawmakers in New York did just pass a bill to ban certain Bitcoin mining operations that could run on carbon-based power sources. Now, let this be known that this is just certain kinds of Bitcoin mining operations. It doesn't say certain kinds of altcoin operations because most altcoin operations do not run on proof of work, but rather proof of stake or another form of solution. Number two, the measure now heads to the desk of Governor Kathy Hochul, I think that's how you say her name, who could sign this into law or even veto it. So number two here, this isn't entirely even solidified yet. This is not completely all said and done. It looks like there is still some serious work to be done before this even goes through. And number three, if this does pass, as we mentioned earlier, it would make New York the first state in the country to ban blockchain technology infrastructure. And this would be, in my opinion, a bad milestone to see in cryptocurrency. I don't think really anyone in blockchain wants to see this happen because once that door is open, it could happen somewhere else. But I think the reason that this is the most significant is because the most amount of crypto funding, around 40% or 46% of all crypto funding, comes out of the state of New York. And that's a big number to recognize. Now, again, almost none of that money really, or I guess some of that money might be going to Bitcoin mining, but the large amount of that is going to cryptocurrency startups. And I want to make sure and see if I can actually find this article, but it's a pretty crazy one. So if this was to happen, this would be a little bit monumental. Would it devastate the crypto markets? Probably not, but I don't like the standard that it sets. And so this is the article I was talking about. It's over by Market Insider, and they show us that New York represents around $6.5 billion in total crypto funding over the course of the last year, that year being 2021, and that was around 46% of all crypto funding inside of the United States. We can see some big other earners on here like Silicon Valley and Los Angeles and Miami, but this would be, not the best place for this to happen. If this happened in California, again, that wouldn't even be as significant. Or if this happened in Wyoming or North Carolina or Virginia, it wouldn't be as significant. But this is happening to the state that has the most amount of funding for the crypto market coming in, at least as of last year. So do we want to see this? Not really, but it's also not finalized as of yet, at least at the time of this article being released. Also in the news, the FBI has now set their sights on the OpenC area. There was a little bit of insider trading in there. I believe it was either earlier this year or later last year. But basically what was happening on OpenC is that employees knew what kind of projects would be listed, which ones might be good before they get listed on the OpenC, and also had access to promote NFTs like on the homepage or the trending page. And so what they would do is they would either know what these NFTs would, which ones would be popular and then post them, or they would kind of push the NFT projects that they owned onto that homepage or at the top in the forefront of the OpenC platform so that people would be more inclined to see them and like them and ultimately buy them. So with this all happening, of course, it's illegal to do any kind of insider trading like this, but the world of blockchain is still a little bit, I guess, in a gray area. You know, how regulated is this? Because if this was the stock market, all these people would be in jail. And so that's what this article talks about, is how the FBI is planning to look into this. And of course, even though the employee was fired, I believe he just got immediately hired by another platform of some sort. So this is quite the interesting situation, because crypto and blockchain is not fully regulated yet, but there are these gray areas that do exist, and I would imagine over the next couple years, those gray areas get a little bit more focus, and really so that something like that doesn't happen again, because it is quite silly that someone can do that level of insider trading. And I would imagine that if there's not any kind of repercussions yet, there will be in a couple of years. So let's talk about this Bitcoin chart, because not a lot has happened. If you guys remember in Monday or Wednesday's video, there was quite the volatility happening over here on Bitcoin. And now that the markets have calmed down just a little bit, we can see over the course of like the last day or so, we have this like 3 to 4% range on Bitcoin that we've just been really hovering around. And this goes back to the idea of we are in a full-on chop zone, and nothing that happens in between 33,000 and 28,000 down here, or 29,000, nothing that happens inside of this area is really going to be surprising. I mean, we could legit go all the way to the top and then immediately dump and then go all the way back up, and I wouldn't be that surprised, because that's exactly what this area is meant to do on Bitcoin. It's meant to get people frustrated and chop. Sometimes it's going to be volatile, and sometimes it's barely going to move at all. But at the end of the day, this is a defined zone. And until one of these two areas break, either support or resistance, Bitcoin's kind of in no man's land. So hopefully over the weekend, we can have some sort of positive price action. But I'm not really expecting a lot for Bitcoin, at least until the market opens next week. And I think we're just going to have some more chop sideways. So yeah, well, let's take a look here at the final article that we have, and that is, in the wake of Terra's collapse, South Korea plans to oversight a new committee. Now, is this surprising to anyone? Probably not, right? This was one of the largest institutional losses, money collapses, whatever you want to say. Around $50 to $60 billion disappeared overnight. And that was over the course of like a week or two, but you guys get the picture. It was one of the largest losses in economic history, and South Korea doesn't seem to be too happy about it. They've already called Do Kwon in front of Parliament, and it looks like they are taking additional steps to hopefully make sure something like this never happens again, or at least that there is a little bit more accountability, because the way that Do Kwon acted, I think most of us can agree that he acted very recklessly throughout this entire situation, and he still has an arrogant manner to him. But going back to the chart, if you guys want to learn more about all the technical analysis that we do and everything that we cover on this channel in a lot more detail, definitely check out the link in the description down below to Crypt Nation, because we cover all this stuff in a lot more detail and early access. I actually just gave a detailed technical analysis of Bitcoin, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, where I go into detail everything like the MACD and the RSI and all these different levels that I have for Bitcoin, like support and resistance, and explain it a little bit further on there. So if that interests you, definitely check out Crypt Nation. But in the news over here, not too much serious stuff going on, with the exception of what's happening in New York. So this is definitely something to keep your eye on. This is going to be pretty big news. Again, will it crash the market or will it pump the market? You know, probably not. I would imagine that it has a very little impact on the market. But what this could impact is maybe startups that want to get involved with Bitcoin mining inside of New York City, which, again, I understand is a little bit of a niche. There's plenty of other places that you can mine Bitcoin, but this is something to look into nonetheless. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you definitely hit that like and subscribe button, and check out all the different videos that we have on this channel. We pump out new videos around 2 to 3 times a week, especially on Wednesdays and Fridays. and occasionally we throw a Monday video in there as well. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.